Welcome to Who's Your Caddy, a weekly PGA DFS talk show. I'm your host, Kelly Singh. There are plenty of shows and articles and tools, and they're all out there giving you advice. But thank you so much for tuning into this show. This isn't your typical DFS podcast. Other shows are going to go through every tier. We're just going to share with you our top 3 core picks along with the infamous WTF pick, along with some other helpful information you might need to finalize your lineup. So let's go ahead and get into it. Maybe. Yeah. Tonight on Who's Your Caddy, we are not talking about the Scottish Open. We're talking about the, I don't even know how to say it. Is it ISCO Championship, formerly known as the Barbasol Championship? This is official FedEx Cup Tour event. It is co-sanctioned with the DP World Tour. And while the field might not be as exciting as the tournament across the pond, we get to see some international talent. But before I keep talking and going, let me bring in my co-host, the hot sauce to my ceviche, Mr. Adam Hallas. Mr. Hallas.
What's happening? I don't even know I forgot what ceviche is.
Ceviche is pretty much what I lift off of in Mexico this last week. It's basically like raw shrimp, clams, fish pieces with red onion and, I don't know, mango sometimes, all chopped up into little bits like relish, and then you put it on chips and you sprinkle hot sauce on it.
That's interesting.
It's really good. Especially with some Modelo.
With Modelo, of course.
Delicious. What are you up to?
Well, I was doing okay for the most part of last week's tournament. Having a little bit of wine. Picked Davis Thompson. And then I picked Aaron Ray. And for a while, they were the 1 and 2 going back and forth. And then Sunday came and Davis Thompson said, "Fuck you, peace." And Aaron Ray's like, "Cool, I'll just slump down to 10th." And then Neil Shipley didn't make the cut. But overall, I think we had a pretty good weekend on picks.
Yeah, I would say so. I hate it when the week after you make a pick that pick plays well, because 2 weeks ago I was on Davis Thompson and this is the week he decides to do something.
Granted, he went like -9 on Sunday, and it's a really easy course. So
that's true. JJ Spawn coming in clutch again for my fantasy league. Know what's up with him, but
he might do it again this week.
They sure didn't make him pricey enough to want us to believe it.
Yeah.
CT Pan last week on my fantasy league also helped me pull out a big win, over 100 points, 200 points lead of my entire league.
Well, congrats.
Thanks. It wasn't DFS, but man, I sure do love it when those like randos. Like, yes, my whole team is this ragtag band of randomness. I don't know. It's pretty fun. It makes it exciting, at least.
It does. Because it's like finding those gems, like you're like, oh, yeah, I was always on that guy.
Always. I mean, I drafted him. Wait, did I? Or was he waivers? I don't even know anymore. Yeah. Well, this week, Adam, we are traveling to Keene Trace Golf Club in Nicholasville, Kentucky. Last year, I was looking back at our notes, and it was apparently very rainy, and we thought it was going to suck. But this year, There is some rain early in the week here, like right now. But by Thursday, it's going to be sunny and humid and fairly hot with temperatures in the low 90s. So I don't know how some of these Euros are going to adjust to that heat, but I don't know. Why don't you tell us about the course?
Yeah, and the ISCO, if you look at some sites, will be called the Barracuda Championship. So that was what it was last year at the Keene Trace. And so Keene Trace really hasn't changed much in the past year. It's still going to be one of the easier courses on the PGA Tour. Average shots gained here is about 3. Cut will probably be -4. Holes 11, 8, 5, and 15 have a 3% or better chance of eagle, which is fairly high. In fact, 15 only has been bogeyed 1.5% of the time. Par 5 scoring is going to be a major factor, as the holes I mentioned are all par 5s. Someone, of course, did say that there may be rain, but like you said, it's from, what's the hurricane? Beryl?
Yeah, Beryl.
Anyway, so that's moving through. It's in St. Louis right now. Why? Because I'm in St. Louis and it's been raining for the past 48 hours. So it's going to move on its way and it's going to dry up. And when it does dry up, we might see some tightness, but with the humidity and the rain and everything else, I think these greens early on are going to be playing nice and soft. If you watched the John Deere last weekend, you notice that Thursday and Friday, these greens were just like dartboards. They're just sticking the balls onto the green next to the holes. Look for the winner to be in the mid-20s. 60% of the scores at each hole wind up being a birdie. So with that being said, some of the things I'm looking for in this tournament are par 5 scoring, birdies, birdie percentage, eagle percentage, 3-putt avoidance, birdie or better percentage, and bogey avoidance are some of the things I'm looking at.
Very good. Very good, sir. So
Good.
I believe you said, I was looking back at our old notes, and I think you said this is one of the easiest courses in all of the season. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I mean, considering that we're coming off the tail end of Rocket Mortgage and John Deere, yeah, it's going to be different.
I guess that makes sense because it's also, not the strongest field, but I love doing these shows because other shows don't talk about the alternative, I can say words, events. So I like talking about some of these players. I know that you have at least one amateur in your picks. So why don't you tell everyone who your favorite core players are this week?
Well, this week I'm starting with Rico Hoey. So Rico is
who?
Rico Hoey. Do you not like that Rico Hoey?
No, I love it. I've never heard of him in my life.
Well, he played great last week, and he played even better the week before. His driving distance was 309 yards, accuracy 62%. Who gives a shit? Greens regulation is at 70%, which is what I like. But like I said before, he came in 26 at the John Deere, came in 6 at the Rocket Mortgage. Loves these easy courses. He's been gaining pretty evenly across the board. Over his last 5 events, off the tee to green, he's been getting 2 strokes. Putting, pretty much neutral. But on the easier courses, let's say last 2, on average, he's getting 2 strokes putting. On approach, on average, for the last 2 at the easy courses, comp courses that we want to pick, he's been getting around 2 to 3 strokes. So I like Rico Hoey.
I like that.
Yeah. So next one, I have Pearson Cootie. And if we were going by a weird name theme this week, I think we've mission accomplished.
He has a brother.
Yeah, he does. And fuck his brother. We don't need to know his brother. Driving distance, 308. Accuracies, okay, who cares? Greens and regulation is what I want, and it's at 67%. And putts per round is fairly low at 28. again, he's been a fairly strong putter, and that's what I need. John Deere, he came in 30th. Rocket Mortgage, 63rd. Charles Schwab, 5th. He has a problem on the approach, and he's not great around the green. But off the tee, he's fine, and putting, he's great at. So I'm hoping those stats in between can help save us a bit.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Next up, I have an oldie but a goodie. Kevin, the real deal Streeland. At 68% greens in regulation. The starting distance is not long, but that's okay. We don't need it here. He's done okay. Like at Rocket Mortgage, John Deere, 57, 46. He needs to get his putting in order. If he can get his putting in order, that'd be great. He's great on approach. Like I said, he's not long off the tee, but he just needs to figure out his putter. I think he can do it on these greens. He has a fairly decent history here at Keene Trace. So yeah. Yeah.
I like all those. I think it's going to be really interesting to see who makes the cut, because this is such a rando field of people. I keep going back and forth on, do I want to add this person? Do I want to add that person? But I'm just going to stick with what I've got here. I actually really like Thor Bjornsson. Michael Thor Bjornsson. 10.3K on DraftKings. He finished second last week, and it was such a weird leaderboard. You look at it and you're like, wait, what am I watching? Because it was just very unexpected. But in his last 5 appearances, he's finished in the top 5 once, and out of his last 5 appearances, he's hitting 74% of greens and regulations. And that's pretty great. And if you look at his entire season, I believe it's still like 66% in greens and regulations for the entire season. So this guy is going to play well again this week on this course. So it's where the bulk of my money is going. I did briefly look at JJ Spawn again, but man, my luck's got to run out with him at some point, and I worry it could be this week. So if I'm going to spend $10K, it's going to be on somebody I feel a little more confident in. Joel Damon, what do you think? Wait, let me back it up. Spawn, Thor Bjornsson.
I like them both. I think both are in my pool. I like JJ Spawn. I like Thorson. He's number 2 in the field for birdie rate. So I like that a lot. He's 12th in par 4 scoring. He's 19th in tee green. So overall, he's a good pick.
I like him a lot better on paper too. Like the reason I pulled out JJ Spawn from my top 3 was, 1, he's so pricey, and if I can't have both of them. 2, when I'm looking at his stats, they just look really bad in comparison to this field, which is not the most amazing field. I feel like he should be ranking better on this field. So that's why I went Thor Bjornsson. Joel Damon, 8.8K. He seems like he's getting his stuff together. He's playing a little better this season. Then again, as we were discussing, this is an easier course. This is an easier field of contention. So he should play well, especially since he's doing a little better. He's getting a little better up there. I like it. I was looking at the odds to finish this tournament. And Joel Damon is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th in the top 10. JJ Spawn 10th. Rico Hui 11th in the top 11. So I mean, I like it. I like that. It feels good to see him up there. It feels good for him to even kind of be in contention to be in a top 10 or a top 5. I really want that for him. He's such a good guy. And then last but not least, I'm going to just go with Kevin Tway. Why? I really don't know. I looked at a bunch of things. He kept rising to the top when I'm looking at course fit, when I'm looking at course history, when I'm looking at the anomalies and making the cut, the percentages and probabilities of finishing. He's one of those that stick out in my weird mathing. So I'm going to go with Kevin Tway, 7.3K on DraftKings. Am I going to play a lot of him? Probably not, but he jumped out at me. You just changed your WTF.
I did, because I don't want to be the same as you.
Why?
I mean, we can both talk about them if you want.
No. Okay, we were both picking Duffner.
Yeah, Duff. I don't know if you have been following golf a long time, but Duffner used to have a meme where he was caught sitting in a children's class and just kind of like duffing it.
Duffing it.
So I have a soft spot for Jason Duffner. He hasn't been doing too well. He's like
he hasn't been doing well.
He's been like, he does great the first round. He does okay the second round, but the second round really fucks him up. He started off just up there in top 10 in the first round and then just kind of blew it on the second day. But he has good course history here, whether it's been the Barracuda or ISCO or whatever it's been over the years. Barbasol at Keene Trace. He likes it here. So that's why originally I picked him. And
that's why I was picking him too. And also his strokes gained are like on the up and up, which is interesting since he's not been playing great. But it looks like he's on an upward trajectory going into a course that he loves. So finished 24th, 27th, 26th, and 18th in the last 4 years. So why not? Jason Duffner. It's like 6-something K on DraftKings.
Yeah. So
who is this?
He's only course history. That's it.
Okay.
And that's all I can gain on him. But he likes easy courses. But he's a Euro guy, so we'll see how he does with the heat. Espen Kofstad. We'll look at ownership. We would look at Espen Kofstad, and let me look up
Espen Kofstad.
Espen Kofstad.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and Espen Kofstad has been making his actual ownership lineup generation. He's one of the higher calculated ownerships.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, it is. Now, it's very early on, and the tool I use just came out with the lineups or the people in the salaries. So it's very much in early stages. And so I already created some lineups just to see what they would look like. And I put Espen in there. So it very much could be that the 47% is half me already in this tool. So take that in mind. But Espen has good course history.
I think it's really interesting to look at the course history and the people who've played. And there are several people who are not playing that have done well before, like Lucas Glover not
Scottish
playing.
Open.
Huh?
Scottish Open.
He's playing in the Scottish Open. Same with Taylor Pendrith, I'm assuming. But then like Grayson Murray, is he also playing in the Scottish Open?
No, he's dead.
He's dead?
Yes.
Oh, no. Oh, my gosh. That's horrible. Gosh darn it, Adam. Grayson Murray, RIP, not playing this year.
No, he's
Came
not.
7th
Good
last
course
year.
history, though.
He does have good course history. Last year at least. Dang it. Okay, Trey Molyneux is not dead.
No, he's not.
But he didn't play last year, but he came in first in 2022.
Yep.
Like, I find this very fascinating. There was one I was really, Taylor Pendrith, like I mentioned already, he's playing in the other tournament. Like, what about this Kramer Hickok?
Yeah, he's not playing.
It's so interesting. Oh, Michael Gliggett.
Gliggett. Yeah.
Gliggett.
Yeah.
He has great course history. Like, where is this guy? I wanted to make him my WTF.
He might be now. The strange thing is, a lot of those players that are like, "Oh, where's this guy?" They might be in the Corn Ferry.
He might be in Corn Ferry. He might have lost his tour card,
Yeah.
or he may have passed away.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's why I found this to be very interesting, because you see all these people who did pretty well and you want to play them and you can't play them, but
yeah,
that's how it is. I'm pretty excited because I like these kinds of tournaments, like I mentioned, how they shake out and it's a surprise. It's always a surprise.
Always.
Do you have anything else?
Been dead.
What was that?
Kind of like finding out a person's been dead.
I feel really awful because I felt really awful when he passed away. And now I'm like sitting here trying to make picks and he's popping up and they need to put like an RIP next to him.
Yeah. They just kind of need to fade him off into like, I'm sure at the end of the season they'll purge the database and kind of like.
There needs to be like an asterisk or something.
Yeah.
Aww. Oh, do you know who we didn't talk about that we talked about a lot last year is MJ Defoe? How do we say his last name? I always forget.
Yeah.
Defoe.
Yeah.
I liked him a lot last year. I don't think I liked him much this year, but
he hasn't been playing much. I think he's been playing on the World Tour. So.
Do you have anything else to add?
No. I like being alive. I like our conversation.
Me too. This episode's gonna be like the one where we talked about the dead guy.
Yeah. Anyway.
Or went out, Grayson Murray.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that's it. I mean, if you listened this long and I didn't offend you, thank you so much for tuning in. Big thanks to Club Fantasy and Women of Fantasy Football for simulcasting this show, and to my co-host Adam, who puts up with me and keeps me on track. Good luck. See you next week. All that good stuff. Bye.